Hey everybody, it's Austin Ward at Lettermen Row for another edition of BuckIQ. For the first time, we welcome in Reed Fragel, former Ohio State right tackle. Maybe some other times, some positions before that, and then some time in the NFL. So we're going to break down offensive line play for the first time. And Reed, this is a guy that I think you've spent some time working with, Isaiah Prince. Some ups and downs in his career. You know, what have you seen from his progression from one year to the next before we dive into some of that film work?
Well, I think working with Isaiah a little bit this spring, I was able to see on the left side at least, he was hesitant with his punch. What you'll see on the film here coming up is that hesitation I talk about, and when he actually does throw and connect his punch, he locks down a defender and it's over before it even begins.
It was a big bounce back year for him last year, but we're going to take a look at two very different Penn State games, different outcomes, and his role in that with Reed Fragel, and we're going to roll that clip right now. We're going to take it back to 2016, Ohio State on the road against Penn State, and I believe the final numbers wound up being 14 hurries were credited to Isaiah Prince in that game, which was a crazy amount. But why was he struggling here at this right tackle spot?
Well, you look in the beginning of this play here, he gets a great jump off the start, times it up perfectly, but he's deep enough to where he should be throwing his hands right now. He's not. He's turning, in fact. He's worried about getting beat outside by some speed, so he's turning those shoulders, and as a defensive end, that's what you want to see. So it gives him the inside go-ahead. You watch that right arm swat the inside shoulder, and that right there is game over all day.
And this play, you know, what do you really do to correct some of that, if that makes sense for you? How do you improve a technique like this?
Well, you have such a great jump like Isaiah does here. You can almost use it to take up some space when you know you have that guy. You're not worried about an inside move, TE rather. You can get at him quicker. You don't need to give him so much space to make a move like this. You don't have to allow that to happen where you're turned and you're just basically saying, okay, I think he's going to go outside me. You can take away that guess, I guess you could call it, and take away his decision and make your own decision to get on quick, throw the hands, be powerful, and lock him out, which you'll see soon here.
And he had one more play here that we've got saved up from 2016, a game that didn't go Ohio State's way, and here's part of the reason why.
Yeah, this is as much on Isaiah here, I think, as much as it is the right guard. You got to be able to slide this off as a guard tackle.
Okay.
He's got to give more presence with that. If you want to rewind it back a little bit, you can see a little more presence with that left arm on that inside guy there, dragging it and allow his guard to come over and take it over. You can see this hesitation. He's not really sure where to go. There's an inside backer coming, not his. He should be sliding over, picking that up. Isaiah should be out here quicker on 43 on the edge.
All right, so this play winds up working out okay for Ohio State thanks to JT Barrett and his skills, but I still probably don't think that it's a fun play to break down in the film room.
No, you don't have to rely on that.
JT Barrett, who had an incredible fourth quarter, finds Johnny Dixon over the middle.
And now we fast forward 1 year later, pressure situation, this time Ohio State at home against Penn State, and there's a different Isaiah Prince out there at right tackle, it seems like.
Yeah, you can see he's trusting his punch here. He's feeling a little more confident in his set, where he's not getting as deep and not giving that space that we talked about before. He's taking away that move, that inside move, where he's setting him inside out, rather than getting on his outside edge, worried about that outside speed.
In some ways, Reed, when I looked at this play and we put it on here for this tape in BuckIQ, it's like, well, it doesn't look to me like Isaiah Prince is working that hard. That's probably a sign that the technique is sound and that he's doing everything right. Is that am I reading that correctly?
Correct. Yeah, you shouldn't really see a dramatic movement or anything like that when there's a perfect set going on being taken place. Right here, you'll see his punch isn't really that crazy, but he's just playing it perfectly inside out to where it doesn't have to be a perfect punch. He's on him enough and riding him on the outside. He's athletic enough to just carry him outside and shut it down the edge rush.
Barrett gets the ball back. 4.5 to play. To Dixon again in the end zone.
Another key situation.
This is the punch I'm talking about. When I saw him in the spring ball, this past spring ball, I saw him work this, and something that once he has it down, he can be a top-tier lineman in the NCAA. And once he gets his hands on him, as you rewind it back, right here, he's got that inside plate. It's game over. He's not necessarily inside out, but doesn't have to be because his punch, again, recovered for that. made up for it. He has him locked out. I mean, you're not getting out of that as a defensive end when he has your chest plate.
Is that a play read that's fair to say you can see that much improvement from one year to the next just by looking at a play like this?
Absolutely. I mean, speaking from my own personal experiences, learning the go from tight end to tackle, the hardest thing was trusting your punch and worrying about your kick. It's like a golf swing. The more you think about it, the harder it can actually be for you. So for him to be able to throw that like that and get that extension where he wasn't doing it before, that's huge. It's night and day.
Well, the good news for Ohio State, they get one more year of development for Isaiah Prince and one more year of him playing out there. Whether it's right tackle or left tackle, maybe it doesn't make that much difference as long as he's on the field. But Reed Fragel coming in for BuckIQ to break down that improvement from one year to the next, and we'll see just how much more he has to go next time when we get into Isaiah Prince, his final season on BuckIQ. For Reed Fragel, I'm Austin Ward. We'll see you next time.